Podcast. I'm Shane, and as with me as always is Trey.
Yes, this is Trey. We are back with another edition of the West Coast Podcast. Appreciate the continued support for the podcast. I appreciate the continued support for my guy Shane Got You 11. He's been doing his thing. He's been putting out tip videos. He's got you covered on the latest patch updates and all that. So be sure to check out his channel. And we really are looking forward to keeping you guys covered through this whole Madden season as well as college football. NFL is just 1 week away. I am very excited. We got college football around the corner. We got the Battle of the Palouse, which no one outside of me and Shane care about, but that's okay. And yeah, overall, we appreciate you guys for checking us out on a Friday evening. It's definitely on the hotter side of things today, but it is going to start cooling off here in a little bit, which is always a good thing. Excited to get back into the fall season and all that fall spring. That little sweet spot is good. And other than that, nothing really to report. I got my hair cut yesterday, and it's looking good. But I guess with all that being said, Shane, how have you been doing these last couple weeks? Are you excited to be back on the West Coast Podcast today? Are you?
I'm excited. We got some good stuff going to talk about today. Always, man, a fresh haircut is always money, especially if you're feeling it and you feel good with the haircut. It's always money. I need to get my haircut soon. Um, but no, so basically, yeah, I've been putting out as many tip videos as I could offer. I'm going to continue to do that. Obviously, we've got back-to-back patch notes for people that have not checked it out. Go ahead and go to my channel. Patch notes are dropped instantaneously. I've got some good blitz pickups that you can go check out. But overall, man, the first tournament of the year happened. I didn't make it to the single eliminations. I kind of bottomed out on the last day. But a lot of good players I actually beat, so I am cool with that. I'm not cool with not making single limbs. Obviously, that's my goal all the time, and hopefully make a good run. But other than that, they have the tournament tomorrow for the single limbs and Sunday as well. Got a lot of UMC crew members in there. Trey. What else? What else could we talk about right now? Trey, do you want me to get into the whole rumor about the MCS ending, or do you want me to wait?
Yeah, we can definitely get into the rumor. What's the scoop? The drama, if you will, that's going to lead up to the MCS downfall, um, which is a topic that we cover a lot on this channel. Before we go into that, I did want to touch on the patch. So there was a patch in Madden 26, and I was watching your video, and apparently there was a patch that came out pretty much at the same time that patch came out, and I want you to let the people know on what I know you covered in the video, but I want you to kind of cover what it is that they patched and why they rushed to patch out so quickly, and is that something in your years of covering patches that you've seen a lot of, is when they come out with a patch and then, a day later or a week later they come out with another patch, or is this kind of rare?
Trey, to me, from my memory bank, somebody could pull up a clip. They might pull up like, some old videos, and I might be wrong. But honestly, it feels from my memory, honestly, bro, that I don't remember ever having a patch drop and then the next day another patch drop. And with this patch, they talked about, they were fixing stability issues, menu issues, but they changed the menu. It's like small and weird, like to show like your ranking. Like I'm a champion 3, so I'm one away from the top one you can get on all Madden head-to-head ranked for MUT. And instead of it being big and like in your face. It's like little tiny. That's obviously one of the patches they did today. Yesterday it was all about zone coverage and fixing the play a friend glitch that was happening where it turned all the competitive MCS players upside down, which I mean, again, EA should have that fixed, when they're doing huge tournaments. But yeah, Trey, honestly, man, I don't ever really remember back-to-back patch note days for one, for Madden or even college football. I don't ever remember them doing it back-to-back days.
Right, so from your memory bank, this is probably an anomaly, which is something that, I guess needs to be fixed. And, sometimes they have one patch, and when they put out that patch, something gets broken, which in turn causes them to release another patch. Um, so yeah, and then with patches, like I don't know if you ever visited Shane, I don't know if you ever messed around with the forums that they got, the Reddit forums and, Operation Sports and stuff like that, but I've seen kind of a theme go along with that group that I think is pretty interesting, and I think someone that covers patches as much as you do, you might have a take on this, but from what people are saying is that when these patches that EA Sports kind of uses, like the first 2 weeks of the game, they pretty much treat the people who pre-order the game and play it early as essentially like testers to like test out the bugs and all that. Like essentially they know that when they put the game out at launch that it's not perfect, and they're just waiting for the people who played it to play it and report back the bugs. And you think that there's any validity to that claim in your opinion?
100% in my opinion. 100% in my opinion, Trey, they do that. I mean, it's why with college football, it's why with obviously Madden, since we're talking about it, that, within a week or two, they drop a big patch and it's a little bit of a different game because they're relying on the people, honestly, who play the game a hell of a lot more than me, a hell of a lot more than you, and are even, let's just say, better than us to find the bugs, complain about the bugs, see what's broken, see what's not broken, and then try to completely fix it. Now, we all know that with patches, it can break something else, so it's never perfect. But there will always be people who figure out how to exploit any game. So I don't believe any competitive game will be ever perfect. It's like that clip, when Chaos was like freaking out of his mind and he was like, "This game is so bad, man." Remember that clip that was famous? Well, like the guy said, the commentator who, I liked it then because they were honest instead of like kind of being a company person. They were like just honest. They're like, the game is good when you're great. The game is terrible when you lose. And it's kind of true. Like most pros, most people, if they're awesome at the game, will think the game's awesome. Most people who are terrible at it will say the game's bad. There's only some in between that, like, if they're great at the game, will be like, yeah, it might not be the best game, but like, cool, I'm great at the game, so overall I don't care. Or, you're horrible at the game and you like the game. I mean, but a lot of people complain, you know what I mean, when they're not good. They usually love it when they're great. So, other than that, man, like, yeah, I do agree with it that the first couple weeks are a testing, but maybe not testing in the way of like it's a test to see like what's broken, what's not. I just think they put it out and hope that it works, and then they realize like, oh, these pros or these players who's played a lot said cover two's broken, then they get clips and cover three, cover four, because essentially, so here I'll tell you something, Trey, because you're not in the MCS Discord. They they banned the motion glitch, they banned the scum kicks, and they relay it to EA. So watch for that in the next patch. Here, I'll give people a sneak preview that aren't in the MCS discords. Look for the motion glitch and for the scum kick to be patched sooner than later.
All right, so yeah, look out for the scum kicks. Scum kicks are definitely making a comeback. And I'm someone that's definitely experienced the scum kick. I don't know if it's as egregious as it once was. Shane can verify that. And to me, it's like, I understand, like, I know in the NFL, they're kind of, some kickers are trying to put it in an area with, like, the landing zone. I mean, the whole kickoff rule, in my opinion, in the NFL is kind of a joke. And I think, even in the NFL, my prediction is that I think we're going to see teams in real life try to exploit the rules and stuff like that. But at the same time, I mean, you're scum kicking in Madden, like you need to touch some grass. like that's kind of my whole take on that. But yeah, going back to the patch thing, Shane. So you essentially agree with the statement that they put out a game that's essentially incomplete. And I mean, like when you say that statement out loud, doesn't that sound kind of like messed? Oh, well, obviously it's messed up, but I mean, do you think that there could be like legal ramifications there? Like if a company were to put out a product, but the product wasn't complete, you sell someone a car and you don't tell them that the brakes are off, and then they crash it. They can't go back to the company and say, "Hey, you sold me this car, and the brakes aren't working." You know what I mean? So do you think that that's kind of gets into a shady area in that regard?
Trey, I mean, that's a really good question. To go on back to the scum kick, it's actually worse, Trey, than in previous years. And in previous years, like, it wasn't the greatest, but you could pull your guys in more and, like, go catch it. And this time, they actually overrun it a little bit when you try to do it. So, like, that's why they banned it, because there's not a good, like, way to stop it. Like, at least last year, in the scum cake, you could bring the guy up and he'd catch it. Well, now, like, if you bring it up, it just goes past them, or they don't react, and then it rolls to like the two, and then you have to run back and you start at like the three or four. But yeah, so like, yeah, like you said, touch some grass. Now, to go off of the whole, they're giving you a broken game. Couldn't they get in trouble for that? I just think that they'd hide it. You know what I mean? They'd hide behind, like, oh, we thought the game was complete. We didn't know that the players would exploit this and exploit that. So we just have to patch it because we didn't know they were going to try to break the game. I think they'd hide behind that. You know what I mean, Trey? Like, it's kind of like if um you go to the ice rink and the ice rink is, like, not totally like thick ice, but it's like in the middle, and me and you go in there and we jam our blade into the ice and crack it and then trip and fall over it. The people would say, well, you did it to yourself, or you guys were trying to damage the ice. That's what I'd say EA would technically say about this. They would be like, we put out a good game. They would hide behind of it. You know what I mean? They'd hide behind a trend. They'd say, we did put out a good game. We just didn't know that, these players would exploit the game and blah blah blah, and we're doing the best, so we went and fixed it. You know what I mean? That's why we have patches.
Yeah, no question. And it's interesting from your perspective, and I don't know if you want to tell me like who exactly in your family. I don't think they're a lawyer per se, but I know that you know someone who's like a paralegal. I think it is. So I mean, so you probably have seen, because of that, you've probably seen some cases that may have been similar. I don't know like what legal work, or if they like specialize in a certain category or what have you. But I mean, do you think, because obviously it's probably not going to work because EA is like a $1 billion company, they probably got way better lawyers. So anything legal that happens, it'll probably just get settled out of court, if anything. But I mean, do you think that on the surface, from what you know, do you think they would have a case if they weren't as big as they are?
So I mean, my wife is a paralegal. She works it for a guy who does like more bankruptcy. I mean, she's had a couple of different jobs. She's like moved up on like the different firms and stuff like that. And she doesn't really tell me cases because it's illegal to do so. Um, but yeah, the whole thing here for me is, would they have a case? And my wife, like, she first off, she'd do the whole like speak of, well, I can't speak on that because this is not my area of expertise, or like the lawyer she works for, he'd be like, well, you'd have to go to like, a different type of lawyer, but you'd really have to, because I know I've asked her on certain things, you'd have proof that they factually put out a game that was broken. And so then you'd have to go to where, like, hey, did they really put out the game that was broken? And is there valid proof that they broke it and put out a broken game? Or could they hide behind the players exploited the game and they've done everything in their power to fix it each time? So that's what the patches are. I honestly, Trey, to be fair, I think that EA would win just behind that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're right. I think they would just hide behind that. And, like, they probably settle out of court. And, like, I don't know a lot about legal things, but, when you hear people, say, oh, I settled out of court, people say that means that the accusations that the person made aren't true, and it's not the case. It's basically what it is big bank takes little bank. So EA Sports is like so high up, they're saying, whatever that number is, it could be $1, it could be $100, and then that doesn't mean that I'm innocent, but like what's a lot of money to me isn't, and but to you it's a lot of money. So that's kind of what it is. Going off that, I kind of wanted to switch gears to the tournament, and one of the things I'm always curious about is kind of the behind the scenes drama, the whining, the stuff that you deal with, the disconnects, and the overall unprofessional running of the tournaments. So I just wanted to ask you, like, the first tournament in Madden 26, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being it was ran good, 1 being it was ran terribly, how are you liking how it was run so far at the beginning of the tournament?
Um, for EA as a whole, I'll break it into two different subject or two different areas. For EA as a whole, I'd give them like a 3 or 4, because like they really shouldn't have game modes broken that they want you to use, and then if you're at home, you're at a disadvantage because the advanced settings don't work. You should never have that. So right there, that lowered it halfway. Um, to see that they lowered the prize pool this year compared to years prior makes me nervous about the whole MCS might be done talk, which we can get into in a little bit. But for the challenger mode, for the people that ran it, honestly, Trey, I'm gonna say this: they were a 9 out of 10. Like, I was really really impressed with how they ran it this year for the first tournament of the year. It might change for the second one, but for the first tournament, man, they were a 9 out of 10. They were legit. The only thing that was annoying, and I understood why, and he explained why, and he was professional and considerate, is I went to play iGeezy, not Goat Geezy, but iGeezy, another pro, and he literally couldn't match up with me. There was some PlayStation, Xbox error going on. Well, what they did to make sure that we weren't cheating, right? Like, I was scared to play him or he was scared to play me. You had a video record yourself showing that you couldn't invite him, which I did. It took, a minute of my life, but um, that was only a little annoying thing. But overall, man, I was really, really impressed by him, Trey.
Got you. So, so yeah, for the tournament for what it was pretty well run. I know I asked you this question in text messages, and I know you said you've played some of the top MCS people, and you had a winning record. It was 9-4, which in my opinion is a really good record. I know you didn't make single eliminations, but to come away with that, I think is good, especially for this being the first tournament. But going off that, my question is are a lot of the pros like, because I know on the leaderboards say this guy's ranked number one and stuff. Like the pro players that everyone knows, like the Skimbos, the W's, the K Max, those people, are some of them like still using lurk tags on the leaderboards, or is it got to the point where people are just kind of playing with whatever their names are now?
It's half and half now, which is cool. I actually loved it. Like I respected the people back in the old days that were like me that were better, but they would be like, "Yo, I'm this guy. Here I am. Beat me." Instead of doing lurk tags. It was annoying, but um I've noticed the older people, like the older pros, user tags now, or gamer tags, however you want to say it. Whereas the younger people, they still kind of switch up, but it's about 50-50 now, which I really like. I really enjoy seeing, the pros' names, and let's get it on, you know what I mean? When we play each other, let's get it on.
Let's get it on indeed. And so speaking to that, like, who are some of like, I don't know if you got to play like some of the like, who are some of like the known people um that people know, like the household names? Did you play any real heaters like the Henrys or the fancies and people like that, or that people know of, or not really?
Not so far, not this year so far. So supposedly, and I don't know if this is true or not, Trey, but it's a rumor. Whereas for the previous tournament, right, they go off of your strength of schedule, who you played, who you beat, what your record was. So then they try to match you up with those same kind of like rankings the next time, unless like let's just say I go 25-1 this tournament, right, and I'm awesome. Well, then the next tournament they're gonna have me with like a tough strength of schedule. I played like a couple, like I said, Cam Stoppett was very ranked high for a while, and when I beat him, he ended up making, I believe, he was top 200. Um, RB20 lines, he made it. He's a YouTuber. I beat him, and he was very high up there. But no, not yet, man. No Skimbos yet. No D Cross. None of that. Not yet, anyways.
Alright, so not yet anyways, but it'll probably happen throughout the course of the MCS season. So outside of the UMC members, I probably know the answer to this question. I don't really think you're watching a whole lot of Madden of that, but maybe amongst the Discord chats and stuff like that, you've kind of maybe seen some intel on it. So has there been any buzz about like a certain person that you've heard of or that you've seen stream online that you're like, oh yeah, this person is really deep. He's gonna make a run, kind of thing. That's not a UMC member.
Honestly, bro, the same people that are awesome every year. So regardless of what, people want to say, they're scammy, they're schemers, they spend all their money. Like let's be really honest, because I'm gonna be honest here, is if I could drop 5,000 right now in the game, sounds as wild as it can be, right? But I know that I'm gonna make it back. I'm gonna drop it, because don't let, like we said before, don't let anyone tell you different. Teams matter. The teams matter. So, like, if you and I, Trey, are equal and you have an 87 overall team, but I have a 99 overall team, I'm going to usually beat you just because of the better team. Now, if you're way better than me, sure, you'll still probably beat me, but that's not the case. The case is like the only way I can tell, like, people when they used to argue with me that teams don't matter is, well, then why does Henry do it? Why does Skimbo do it? Why don't they save their money and run with gold cards? Oh, because they like the cards. No, it's because they're awesome. But Henry's awesome this year to go off of that. Henry's really, really good. I think he only had one loss. I think he was like 25-1 or 20-1, at least last time I checked. So it's the same guys, man. Skimbo, I think, was like, I don't remember. I don't remember if he ended up making the top 32, but we had a guy in our crew that got 69th, which is really, really good, right? And then a lot of guys in the low 100s. So like we have like a legit shot on Saturdays to go somewhere and go far, hopefully. But nah, man, Trey, honestly, there's nobody new because I've been watching enough, but there's nobody new where I'm like, oh, this person's new and they were awesome. It's a lot of the same old if you get the gist.
Yeah, no, I get the gist for sure. It's essentially, more of the same. The people that are good are still good. All right, so I want to take this opportunity. We're getting into single eliminations this weekend. We got some UMC people in the building that are going to make a run for it. So I want to shout out the brand. I want to give Shanghai 11 to shout out the people that are going to be competing in the UMC tournament. So Shane, let us know. Tell us who do we got in the UMC crew that's going to hopefully be making a run in single eliminations, and if they are going to be streaming, where can we find them streaming this weekend?
We got Cerebral Victory, which is Sean. I don't think he's streaming unless he has to. You got AJ. He will be on Beast AJ Twitch or RG Beast on Twitch. Then you got Devonte, who won't be streaming. You got Diggy, who won't be streaming. We got Edgar. I don't know if he will be streaming. Then you got Stony, who I don't know will be streaming. SMB Joker, who won't be streaming, and then Fire, who will probably be streaming, and it'll be under Ultimate Fire 12 on Twitch. We have a lot, Trey, honestly, that are in the tournament, man. It was like one of our best showings and just a legit showing. That we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 members make it, Trey.
Yeah, no question. So that'll be dope for sure. And I remember. I mean, it's kind of funny, when I look back on, the Madden cruise as a whole. And I think I was even a part of like the original Madden crew. I think it was like the Madden Underground at the time. And I remember we had one person, shout out to Anti-Hero. I know he made a live in the Patriots Club Championship. This was in Madden 20. He lost to a FICAM back then. But it was still pretty cool. Like since that point, has there been any other people from the crew that's made it alive at this point, or has that kind of been it?
If you're going back to clubs, yeah, AJ made it, Cerebral made it, and then a lot of them weren't around back then to do it. So no, so you got a couple of those, but since it's become really, really tight on, only a certain amount of people make it now, no, it's really, really hard to do. You got to win, I believe, 4 games Saturday unless you get top 32, and then 4 games Sunday. So you have to go 8-0 on single eliminations, basically. Rose said, so EA's going to patch nonstop, but they're not going to stop wheel route glitch. It makes me wonder, since there hasn't been a live event of someone using the glitch. Oh well, if pros aren't using it, surely our great, upstanding community would be toxic and head to head and run that degenerate, broken stuff. EA is so unserious and not caring. To answer that, Rose, Trey and I went over it just like a little bit ago. But to answer it, because I love going over it again. Yeah, basically, yeah. So what they did is they literally banned it for the MCS. So you can't run it. You cannot run it at all. If you run it, you will lose a turn, like lose the play and all that stuff. So you can't use it, Rose. It's illegal, just like scum kicking is illegal. You cannot do it in the MCS. So I'm sure definitely I'm sure definitely if they went over it, they're gonna patch it. They, like I said, we're on the MCS Discord, Rose, and they banned it, and they were letting EA know that that is a glitch, and letting EA also know about the scum kick. So I would say in the future, soon, hopefully, we will get patches for that. Rose, just stop the glitch, the motion wheel glitch. All you have to do is bring one of your slot cornerback, slot DBs to the farthest side of the where they're going to motion to, and usually you'll be pretty good and set a zone to drop to make the play on it. I've been pretty good against it. It's just like you said, it's pretty like crappy of players who do that, because if they're really really good, if I move that guy all the way over, they'll just throw it over to like a flat route, right, or like a little streak route. So yeah, it's not really cool of them and all that stuff. But I will say this, Rose. I would say in the future, hopefully really really soon, that's going to be patched. Because like the MCS people, the Discord people that run Challenger mode, they're in charge of letting EA know what routes, what plays, what is glitchy where you can't have a counter to, and then they let EA know. So basically, the scum kick and the motion glitch and all that. You said a lot of people just have to switch to the deep zone. You have to manually hold it. I can't read that because there's a heart in front of it. Hold on really quick. I'm gonna just put a thing. A lot of people have to just switch to the deep zone. You have to manually guard because the player will freeze, like we did in man coverage. The guy motioned over. You can't man cover it, bros. You really can't man cover it. It will freeze you like halfway through. What you want to do is, like, I've been playing it, and you want to put the zone. So like I said, you can do a flat zone or a Tampa 2 or whatever, and drop that the light blue to like 15 20 yards and move them all the way over to the sideline. And I've been having it just fine play it. A lot of times I'll be doing like a purple to the 20 25 yards rows, and they will play the motion. They really will. The only thing that makes it really, really hard is if they're good, like I said, and they also have another route out there, a combo route for a flat route or a streak route from the running back. So if they put it like, a flat and then a streak from the running back, it makes it really, really hard. But honestly, try to put the purple to 20 to 25 yards for your slot cornerback and move them to the sideline and up. Let me know if that works for you. It's been really working for me, but yeah, so that's to answer that on that.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Rose for being in here. We appreciate your company. As always, welcome. Yeah, Shane, Shane's over here giving advice to the people in the chat about the corner route and zone coverage, which is always good. Make sure to subscribe for more tip videos. And, I want to bring it back to NFL for just a quick second. So the big news of today is the Micah Parsons trade. Micah Parsons is now with the Green Bay Packers. It took me a while to remember that. Shane, what do you think about Micah Parsons joining the Packers? It's kind of a blockbuster trade.
I mean, that's humongous, bro. You got a young player that's a superstar, and that's what you got. Like, I mean, that's a huge win for the Green Bay Packers. I wish the Seahawks would have done that, to be fair. But, you know, you can't control it. I think that was an amazing move for Green Bay, and if I was a Green Bay fan, I'd be pumped. What about you, Trey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. I think definitely, I think Jerry's ego, and I've seen that Jerry did an interview with Stephen A. Smith. And while we're on the subject, I was going to ask you if you had a chance to see the Netflix documentary about the Dallas Cowboys, the 90s Cowboys, and like if you didn't, I do recommend that anyone that watches this on the replay and the people in the chat definitely check it out on Netflix. It's very good, I think. But Shane, like when you look back at the '90s Cowboys, from the Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones firing Jimmy Johnson, bringing in Barry Switzer and that sort of thing. Like, do you think that Jerry Jones is too egotistical? And do you think that the Cowboys are still going to be kind of stuck until Jerry Jones is not with the Cowboys? No.
I just honestly, personally think everything is harder with salary cap. I believe he won all of his Super Bowls when there was no salary cap, so he just spent as much money as possible back then. Now with salary cap, I'm not so sure that he knows 100% what he's doing. I know that sounds wild because he's a rich billionaire and way more successful than I am and probably ever will be, unfortunately. But I just think that he, pre salary cap, he could just drop like 100 million, 200 million for these best players, just kind of like the San Francisco 49ers. And, you know, that's it. I mean, I have the same theory though. Like, I know your New England Patriots when they played the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks would have actually beat the Patriots pretty easily. I know you're going to be like, go to hell, Shane, but like pretty easily if there was no salary cap because we had a rich owner and we wouldn't have had to get rid of a lot of the players that the Seahawks lost due to the salary cap. So for me, I think for Jerry Jones, it's, he just can't buy everything and control everything. He has to make strategic moves, and he's really failed on that, Trey.
Yeah, I don't even. I mean, this is probably bad by me. I should know the answer to this, but like who is the Seahawks owner at the moment, and like what does he do? Like, how did he come up with his fortune?
It was it originally was Paul Allen, but he's dead now. I believe he was like Microsoft. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was Microsoft with Bill Gates. I was pretty sure on that. I just wanted to verify it, but his sister runs it now, Jody Allen.
Got you. So you think that Paul Allen is has more money because like I don't know this personally, but you think that Paul Allen is more wealthy than Robert Kraft is?
Uh, that's a good question. I would assume so, bro. Let's see, just for fun, Paul Allen net worth. Oh yeah, he was the 44th richest person ever with 20.3 billion. I don't think Robert Kraft has that much money.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It doesn't seem like it.
I'll
So
check for
yeah,
you,
but
bro.
at the same time, but at this, okay, okay.
He has 11
Well, yeah,
billion, but he's still 10 billion shy of Paul Allen.
right. Yeah, you're nothing in the NFL unless you got multiple billions in your names.
I mean, that's why the
But with
rich
that
get
being
richer.
said, you would say at the same, yeah, the rich get richer, but you would say that you like the salary cap, wouldn't you? You think that having a salary cap in pro sports is a good thing, right?
You know, honestly, bro, like I'm hit and miss on it. Like I do, obviously, and I don't because if you let's just say the Seahawks and the Patriots were poor owners compared to the rest of the NFL, right? Like obviously Kraft is rich as hell, 11 point whatever, 11 billion, and then at the time, Paul Allen was 20.3 billion. I mean, 10 billion different is huge difference, but they're both super rich. But let's just say there were 2 billion each, right? I mean, and then the rest were between 8 billion and 20 billion. Let's just make it up. Of course you'd want a salary cap because they can't compete. And that's why the same old teams were winning a lot. Like look at the 90s. It was the Cowboys and the 49ers. Yes, and you got the whole like one-time Green Bay, and then at the very end it was the Patriots, but that is because the salary cap hit in '95. So look who won from 90 to 95, and that's just, we don't have to keep going back farther and farther because like you'll get the point. But from 90 to 95, it was Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers, Trey. Why? Because they could spend the most and they could buy it. So overall, it's probably a good thing, right? What do you think?
Yeah, overall, I would definitely say it's a good thing. Especially for the fans. The fans get involved. I personally think it's a lot more exciting when everything is kind of played fairly, and it's not like in the MLB and the NBA, like how they do their playoffs, and I think 90% of the times, if you do like a best of four or a best of five series, the good teams are gonna win that series 90% of the time. But when you go to the NFL, it's like you can have a team that's like 9-7 that goes on a deep playoff run and makes the Super Bowl. So yeah, I would agree. Now, when you say we've seen Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones is not only the owner of the Cowboys, but he's the general manager. So, what do you think, like, as a fan, how involved do you want your owner to be in your team? Because, for my opinion, I want the owners to sign the checks, not get into any like trouble with massage parlors, and hire competent people to run the football operations. That's all I want the owner of my favorite team to do. What about you, Shane?
It all depends on it for me. Overall, yeah, I fully agree with you. But let's just say, let's say I'll use myself on baseball. I feel like I'm pretty well versed on baseball. It's probably the most confident sport I could debate with anybody on. Break it down. Understand like what's going to happen in this pitch count, what's going to happen here, but I'd still need help running the business, right? So overall, though, Trey, yeah, I agree with you. Like, if I'm a rich billionaire here, what do you need? I'm going to hire the most competent GM. I'm going to hire the most competent assistant. I'm going to hire the most competent head coach and let them run it. Now, I might add my 2 cents here and there if they're sucking, but if they're awesome, it's not my business. Just let us win a championship for the city, let us win the championship for our fans and move on. That's where I'd be.
Yeah, no, definitely, I would agree with you on that. So yeah, we got the NFL season. We got big news with the Micah Parsons trade. I know for the Patriots, it is pretty interesting. We ended up releasing Jabril Peppers, which was also kind of a surprising acquisition. And it was surprising because he has like I don't know 3.4 million left on his deal, and we just released him. So I guess that's another question, Shane. I don't know if you probably haven't been paying too much attention to the preseason as far as the Seahawks go, but like with the 53 being set for the Seahawks, has there been any kind of, surprise like people that were on the bubble that got cut, or were there people that they cut that you were kind of surprised by, and were there people that you didn't think would make the team that ended up making the team, or have you really been paying attention to that too much?
Bro, honestly, my mind has been on Madden, getting my youngest one ready for kindergarten. He starts really soon, and then the Seattle Mariners. I don't really involve myself in like the preseason because like back in the day, I used to like I'd be like, oh, the Seahawks went 4-0 or 3-1, let's just say, and I was younger, and I'd be like, I bet they do awesome because how good they went, and then they'd be like 4-12. So for me, it's like I don't know, like it's cool for the players to try to get jobs and stuff. The most impressed that I paid attention to was the left guard that they drafted. I believe he was from South Dakota State, I believe, but he's been killing it. And then which I'm really really impressed on. I watched some of the film for him for the NFL. I might be saying the school wrong, but He's the left guard. He was absolutely killing it, holding his own. And then I believe the wide receiver named Holt, he impressed me as well. But yeah, overall, man, to be honest, I haven't paid attention to it a lot.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand you on that. I pay attention, but but because I'm kind of interested in that sort of thing. Kind of going forward. There was a point like we were doing fantasy football and the crew and stuff, and I think there was probably some, people probably didn't take it as serious, so you kind of stopped playing. But like, is fantasy football something you were into at one point and it just kind of teetered off, or like what is kind of your thoughts on fantasy football? Like, what was the last time you kind of got involved in it?
Um, it was never my thing, man. I honestly just I don't know. I would forget about it, and I'd be like a terrible person in the league. Like, so it's not fair to other people to do it because I'd hate it if they didn't pay attention. I think one time I took it serious and did fantasy football for money. I think it was like $50 way back in the day. I mean, I think I finished like top 8 out of however like a lot of the people we had. But it just wasn't my, I don't know, cup of tea. One of my buddies asked me if I wanted to do it in his work league this year, but I just was like, nah, not right now because I don't really pay attention enough. So maybe one day I'll try, give it a go again. But as of right now, no, it's just not my thing.
Got you. So do you think like with DraftKings, obviously it's illegal in where we're at, state wise. Do you ever see like DraftKings ever becoming legal in Washington? And if it does become legal, I know that you can bet on sports if you like actually go into the casinos, but you can't go on apps like DraftKings and things like that. But if DraftKings became legal in Washington, is that something that you would do personally?
Um, yeah, for sure, man. I would definitely sports bet. The thing is I don't ever see it happening unless the Native American tribes agree and they either do like their own casino app where you can sports bet through them. Otherwise, I don't believe it'll ever happen because I believe, at least in Washington State, that there was a deal with Native Americans and gambling and casinos. So I honestly don't think it'll ever happen unless, like, let's just say I make it up, like FanDuel or DraftKings is like, hey, Washington State, to all the tribes, we will give you, 25% profit and this amount of money up front. And it'd have to be a huge chunk. Other than that, I don't see it happening because look how much money they break in or they receive each day, each month from people playing slot machines and doing that. Because once you open up DraftKings, you'd have to open up probably other online gambling apps, and then there's casinos in there, and so it'd just be a whole crap show. I really don't think they'd ever do it. But to answer your question, if they did, yes, I would.
Yeah, no question. And it's interesting because like I remember I told you that I was going to casinos, and if you don't want to like repeat the advice the advice that you gave me, you don't have to. But you yourself are someone that likes to go to the casinos and do that sort of thing. So is that something that you've always been interested in? Interested in, obviously, the funny games and Madden kind of ties into that a little bit. I know that with Madden it's a little bit different. It's more skill based type thing rather than playing the slots and things like that. So is that something you've always been interested in? And what was like the most money you've ever won at a casino, if you can remember?
So Yeah, I've always liked the casino. Like, I mean, I went the very first time with my dad at Northern Quest, which you know about, when it was 18. You had to be 18 to get in. I went the very first time with my father. He would give me like $10, $5, and tell me to bet very, very small, so I would. And I lost it, and I probably was down like $40 for the few hours that my dad was with me. And then I said, "Hey, I feel it on this ladybug machine. I have another 20, and I'll bet small still." And he said, "Sure." Um, and I ended up winning $400 on like, I don't know, 30-cent bet. And I always remember the lady next to me being like, "You should have been betting max. You know how rare that is," and kind of killed my vibe. But I mean, at the same time, I can see her point because I mean, that's what I do now, but you shouldn't ruin somebody else's vibe. Like, who cares if they're betting 50 cents or 40 cents and you want to bet $4 a roll? You know what I mean? Um, but no, so yeah, ever since I was young, I'd go. I used to do blackjack for a while, Trey, and I was never really good at winning the game. I was really, really good at matching. So like, I don't know if you've ever done it, but like, you would put a side bet that the blackjack dealer will draw the same card that they gave you. And depending on if it was both six of clubs, let's just say it's like 10-1 or 20-1 odds. I can't remember now. And then if it was six of clubs and you had six of hearts, it was like 4-1. They paid out. I'd always really good on that, but people were getting annoyed, so I just was like, screw that. I'm just gonna play slot machines. And like, yeah, money games definitely like were are fun, but they were all more skill based to me, right, Trey? Because like you had to try to win, you had to try to handle your business. It was skill. Like, it wasn't like random if I'm playing the guy like I beat for $6,000 in September of the one final year. It was skill, it's not random. But what the casino would do for me, Trey, is I could go do slot machines and let my brain relax. I would kind of go like, I don't know. I don't want to say brain dead because I was still paying attention, but it'd make my brain relax more than it usually does because, like, man, I'm always thinking, I'm always trying to figure things out, I'm always trying to break things down. And so, like, I'd go there, but said this story plenty of times. Right before we had the little one, I had figured out these two games, Jade Monkey and Lucky Fountain. Played it 12 times, and in the last 12 times I'd won 9 times, broke even twice, and then lost one time because I had figured out when the bonuses were starting to get warm and start to hit, so I would bet max. And it, like, you can kind of figure it out, and it doesn't mean every day you're going to be hot, because if like, so 3 of the 12 times I broke even or I lost, but 9 times I won pretty damn good, right? But then I had the kid, and I haven't really gone out there that much. And I think I've been out there like twice in 5 years now, which I used to go like once a week, Trey, because I would take that time to relax from Madden, relax from money games. The most I ever won is at one time in one day was $2,400, and I did that a couple of times. I did it on this game called Dolphin Treasure. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like three treasures gets you into the bonus, and I got five of the seahorses in the bonus, which is times three, and I was betting 450 at the time. And then also, I mean, that was the cool period because so that first time that I ever won that, Trey, I went to Aces in Spokane, which there's no longer there. And I was down with my buddy. We were down like $75 each, and I was like, all right, like, this sucks. Like, I can't ever win. So I said, screw this. We're doing blackjack. I did $25 and $25 to match, and I literally matched on all of them or whatever, and I won like something. It was something like 650 or $700. So I'm like, hell yeah, and we bounced. Like, I gave $25 to the dealer. My buddy and I bounced. We went to Perkins Trade. We had a nice breakfast. Got home at like 5 in the morning, bro. Um, Woke up like 9 a.m. and I'm like, shit, should we go to Coeur d'Alene? So went to Coeur d'Alene Casino. I hit the jackpot. So it was pretty legit, man. So like in one day, or like not one day, but within like like an 8 hour period, 2 days, I ended up winning like 3K. And then like just like 4 years ago, like one of the two times or one of the three times I've gone in 5 years, it was like this beer game, like a Swedish game, and I bet max and hit the jackpot. So hopefully, once the little one gets settled into the school, I can go out there like once a week again and try to figure out the games. So then I can learn when the bonuses get hot, because you could tell like with Jade Monkey, like I'm just going on a tangent. I apologize, Trey. But when with Jade Monkey, if you got in the bonus and in the bonus you got two Jade Monkeys and not a third because you need a three. If you got like, let's say you get in the bonus, right, and you see two Jade Monkeys pop up, most of the time you're gonna get in the bonus again once you left the bonus. So that's how I'd figure it out. And another way I figured it out, Trey, and like is like if I was gonna bet a $2 machine max bet, which is $2 for some of them, I'd bring 200. $3 max bet, you need to bring 300. $4, 400. $5, 500, and so on. Because usually what I found out with the 12 times they did it is you will either be hot from the start or you might be down, but then it'll get usually hot, and then you can either leave when you break even again, but played for a while, or you come back and start winning good money, and once in a while you lose. But anyways, that was my whole motto and like my brain on the casino.
Yeah, no question. I like hearing it. Like, there's certain topics, get Shane talking about casinos, and then he just kind of goes off. It is interesting, though. You kind of brought up an interesting point at the beginning where, you said that at the time you had to be 18 or older. And it was kind of crazy because I remember when I went to Vegas the first time I was 17, and my brother was 15 at the time, and like every time, like they were pretty ruthless when it came to like allowing us to go to the casino. Like our parents would be in the casino and they would just like we'd just be like on the outside outside, and they just kind of be honest, not letting us go in. So why is it, like, in your opinion, why has it like in the coming, like, I know in some it's probably more stricter than others, but like, why have they been like less strict, like, now than they were back then, you think?
I think it all just depends on the casino that you go to. Like Coeur d'Alene, they'd let my little ones sit on the yellow and with their feet on the inside and not care if I was playing with my family. Like we drop in after a basketball tournament, and like it's not like we're making the little one stay there for hours watching me gamble. It's just like we stopped in, we ate dinner on the way back from Rockford, the basketball tournament where we're in, and they didn't really care. Northern Quest, man, honestly, they were really really annoying when they changed it to 21. So like I'd be 23, my wife would be 21, and she would rage because she's right on this. Like it got annoying where she's like, "Can you mark me or whatever?" So like one day we go in, right? It's a Friday night, bro. She's 21, I'm 23. The guy at the door says, "I need to see your ID." Letting other people in, but says, "I need to see your ID," which is fine, right? They're checking ID. So shows her ID. They let her in. We go like 5 steps inside the casino. They ask for her ID again, bro. She pulls it out again. We go to one slot machine, sits down. Now, I'm not joking, bro. This is within all like 30 minutes. They ask her for her ID again. She shows them. We go to like on the other side, just so on the other side of the machine. So like you know how the machines face each other, so go to the other side. 10 minutes into that, she gets ID'd again, and she was like, "Yo, can you mark me or something? This is like the fourth time you guys have ID'd me in like 40 minutes. This is ridiculous." It was terrible for a while. Like I would be interested to see who they check and who they don't check now. I also know that like it was wild though to watch. So like if you like saw like my buddy for a while, she would go around, and if she saw a machine that had like $1 in it or 80 cents, and the person had left the machine because they were pissed they lost, she'd cash out, right? So she'd cash it out, and then she would try to add it up to like $10 in play. I didn't know it was illegal at the time, and they came to her one time and were like, "Yo, quit doing that. We're watching you from the cameras. If you keep doing that, you're gonna be banned." So then I would like, if she started doing it again, I'd kind of like just like mind my business because not my issue. But it is kind of wild because so I saw one time like a $20 game ticket that was left out of the machine. I didn't touch it because like I just wasn't gonna do it. And what they did, Trey, is they came over and ripped it in half. The employees ripped it up. So then the next time, this person left $50 in a machine, and I'm like looking and I'm watching and I'm playing by it for like 30 minutes, bro. And I'm like, they didn't come back. Like, it's gonna start dinging the people to come down. So like, honestly, bro, I cashed out. I'm like, shit, it's my $50 now. And I went and played Jade Monkey on the other side, bro, and it was the worst experience of my life. Just for like, I don't know if you'd call it my morals or like my conscience, but like I turned that $50 into like $600 on Jade Monkey, and it was still super hot. But every employee that walked by me, I'd feel like I was sweaty because I was like, they're gonna come, they're gonna take it, they're gonna escort me out. So, anyways, I left with like $600, even though the machine was hot. I probably could have won like 1,000 or 1,200 the way the machine was going. But yeah, I don't know what it was. It was like the Raven. If you've ever read the book The Raven, where the guy kills the person, hides it, and they get the like, here's the beating heart, and he turns himself in. That's kind of how I felt, man. Like I felt like the employees were watching me. Like, yeah, I'm just not that type of person to like steal, but I knew that they would just, they would take it. You know what I mean, Trey? They would take the 50 and rip it up.
Yeah, no question. Has that ever happened? Like, have you ever been like playing like whether it be like slots or cards or whatever, and you'd have like employees like come up to you and say, "Hey, don't do this, don't do that." And I've even heard of like some situations. Like I watched a documentary on Vegas, and I guess there would be times where like they would play slots, and then they would hit a jackpot, and then come to find out that the jackpot wasn't real, and it was like a programming error and stuff like that. Have you ever heard of like anything like that happening personally?
The only time that well, I got kicked out of the casino one time because I worked at the casino, and I ended up getting fired because I took the Hoop Fest weekend off. I was young. I didn't really like. I really didn't care, if you want to know the truth. But they fired me, and then the next day my dad called me and said, "Hey, you want to come to the casino?" So I went and I sat down by him, and I'm playing, and I had my card in, and they came, two big security guards. Said, "Hey, you're coming with me. You need to leave now." And I'm like, "What's this all about?" And they're like, "You got fired. You have a 90-day cooling down period where you can't touch a casino, come in here," because they're afraid of like get back. So I ended up talking to the head person, and they ended up like reducing it down to a week. But I mean, that was kind of awkward. I've also done it where like I was winning on roulette, which is kind of rare. And they had the boss pit got people start watching me like I was, stealing. I did have one time where um I put my phone on a slot machine, and I went to get a pop, and I thought I had it, and I realized that I didn't have my cell phone. And at the time it was like a cheap cell phone. I think it was like $30 worth, right? Whatever. In the end, still annoying. I come back, it's gone. I go to the security. I'm like, "Yo, did anyone turn it in?" Whoop de whoop. Um, they're like, "Nope, sorry." So I'm calling because my friend was there, calling the cell phone. It kept ringing. Well, eventually it went to voicemail. So like whoever took it turned it off. So I go back to the security and I'm like, "Yo, this is bull crap. Like I know you guys have cameras. Like I know you can see where I'm sitting, so you could pull up the camera and show me who did it." They refused to do it, right? Fast forward, bro, like 2 weeks later, and my dad has a friend who's more of a high roller, right? He was a high roller with a higher card than me, and he left his cell phone, and They pulled up the cameras for him. So yeah, they do care how much you put in to see how much they'll help you.
Damn, that's interesting. So when they did pull up the cameras, eventually, did they end up finding the person that took it and like what happened with it?
For my dad's friend, yeah, they ended up catching him. He was, I guess, he was trying to leave. He was trying to, like, I don't know, probably turn it to the kiosk or where, when you turn those cell phones back. One more story from the casino, Trey. So this was pre Cade, which is the little one, right? And I'm on a heater, bro. Like, I mean, I'm up like probably 900 bucks at this time. And I'm on this one machine and it's just like bonus, bonus. And I'm betting like $5 a roll. And it's hot. And it's giving me like $300-400 bonuses. And I'm starting to get a crowd around me. And I'm like, holy crap, right? Well, like, I'm getting bonuses like, and like slot machines usually don't stay super hot. It's usually like you have about 20 minutes when it gets really hot and then you need to get off of it. Well, dude, when I tell you it was like an hour straight, max bet $5 a roll, it was like crazy. Like every like 10 spins back in the bonus. Well, long story short, I have to piss, bro. I have to piss so bad it's like aching in my stomach because I've been holding it. And I'm like, okay, damn, this sucks, but I will have to leave this machine because I'm not going to pee my pants. I just, like, sorry, I will never do that over anything. Unless they're like $10 million and I'll piss myself, but not over a couple hundred. Well, I get in the bonus again right when I'm like, I'm going to get up. And it's like, I can't remember either 50 or 100 free games times by like two. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't hold it anymore. I come I wave over an attendant. It's an older lady, and I'm like, "Yo, can you watch my machine? Make sure nobody touches it. Let me go to the bathroom. I'll come right back." She goes, "Okay, yeah, I'll watch it." I'm like, "Cool, I'll give you a tip. Appreciate you." She goes, "Okay, I'll make sure nobody watches it, bro." I go piss. I'm gone no longer than 2 minutes, and I see this like short tweaker, like probably like 5'6", 5'7", muscly, like literally muscly tweaker on my machine, bro, touching the screen trying to make it stop spinning so he could cash my ticket out. So I come all the way back and the lady's still standing there and I'm like I go what the hell? I go get away from my machine, bro. Well, he like kind of backs up and I'm like what are you doing? And then I look at the lady and I'm like, yeah, I thought you were gonna watch it. She's like, I'm not gonna stop a man from like touching it. I'm sorry, like he's a man. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I'm not gonna get physical. And it had, dude, he and literally Trey, like in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, had made like, let's just say we'll use 50 free games. So I know it was 50 free games or above. Go from 50 free games to like 13 free games. He had changed up the whole rhythm because what he was trying to do is cash out my $1,000, bro. So security guards come over because she called him over and he runs out the door, bro. Like runs out the door like books. And they're chasing him. Well, they come back, they're like, we're so sorry we can't catch him. And I'm like, this is bullcrap. You know what I mean? I go, you guys said you'd watch it and basically cost me like uh 30 games at max bet times three because he was just pressing it, hoping to get my money out. And the security guard's like, "You're absolutely right. Hey, I'm gonna get you a hold of the head of the slot machine people, right?" So I'm like, "Cool." Long story short, I had to leave. I won, so I wasn't that upset. I got my ticket, which made it all better, Trey. And I get in my car and I call the lady, and she goes, "Yeah, that's really messed up. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you $100 gift card to any food restaurant you want in here for you and your wife." Um, and a $20 voucher, right? She's like, we haven't caught him. We do know what he looks like on camera. Bro, they called me back the next day. He tried to come back in like 10 p.m. that night, thinking the security guards had switched over, but they had him on camera and they ended up arresting him.
Damn, that's crazy. So I mean, like when you had to go to the bathroom, I mean, couldn't you just like cash out and then took your ticket and then come back to the machine, or is it like a superstitious thing, like where it has the momentum and like if you cashed out at that point, it would not be good anymore.
No, the free games were going, Trey. So the free games were going. Um, you can't cash out your ticket when the free games are going because it was a bonus. So it wasn't like I was pressing it. It was automatic bonus. So the automatic bonus was like 50 free games. So I'd had to sit there and let it be automatically spinning because that's the bonus. You're in the bonus, you know what I mean? Uh it's free games. You're not playing. You're not being charged any money, bro, because you're just that you got in the bonus. It's 50 free spins that the computer spins, or you can hit it depending on the game, but you can't cash out when you're in a bonus. You have to wait till the bonus ends to cash out your ticket. So that's why I asked the lady to watch it, and she said she would. But she said afterwards also, like, because she was tiny as hell, tiny old woman. I understand. She said she'd never seen anyone come up and do that before, like when there's been an attendant. And she said she thinks it's because I had started having a crowd come around me because I was betting high enough, and so they think that noticed it, where most of the time you don't. That's why when I'm winning big now, Trey, I don't act. I don't. I hide it. Like when you play poker and you're supposed to have a poker face, no pun intended. Um, that's what I do now, Trey. You wouldn't know if I'm losing, and you wouldn't know if I'm winning. So I don't have people come over, and I turn the volume down.
Got you. So essentially, this guy, like, so he must have, like, he was probably like watching you from a distance. I know you said he was a tweaker, but maybe he like saw, he was like watching you from afar, and then when you went to the bathroom, he went over and tried to cash out essentially.
Correct. So like like he was smart about it. Like he was scammy, but like he was smart about it. Like people like to watch people that are winning big, right? It's just the way it is. Another funny story, bro, is this like it looked like another tweaker when my friend and I were there like 10 years ago, bro, where it was on like Mega Meltdown or whatever. It's like high kind of betting, which makes it weird. And she wins $10,000, bro, and she keeps playing it. And my friend's like, I can't believe she's gonna keep playing it. She'll never do that again because it was a max jackpot. She ended up getting the max jackpot like fucking language. My bad. Like 30 spins later, bro, she got 10,000 again. The worst time ever. I told you about the time where all my four tires popped when I went to the casino, right?
I mean, you probably have, but I don't remember that story about when your tires popped. So yeah, I'd be interested in hearing that story if you don't mind telling it again.
Bro, that was probably the worst I've ever done, and I've lost like 300-400 bucks in the past, bro. So like, I don't really hide it. Like times I've lost it, and there's times I've won like 1,000, 12, 1,300. And like I said, I had that great record going in the last 12 times. Well, the worst time ever is like, so my wife and I and my friend were gonna go to the casino. The very last minute, my wife's like, I don't want to go now. So I'm like, whatever. My friend wants to go. I'm like, yo, I'll pick you up in like 15. They're like, cool. So I go the back way because they live on the back roads going to the casino. So I go to swoop them up. Like 5 minutes away, I'm like, yo, I'm 5 minutes away. And they're like, I forgot I had a college test I have to do. I can't go. And I'm like, okay, like, whatever, cool. So I go the back roads and I'm going like 50 miles an hour. And there's two huge potholes, bro, like side by side, and just popped all four tires. Bam, 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 because I hit it so hard. Just bam, bam, pop, pop, pop. So I'm pissed off. My battery's down to 30%. I call a towing company. They tow me all the way to Airway to Tire-Rama, where I have my credit card, where I could pay for 4 new tires, but it's closed. Then they take me all the way to the casino, which is not that far away. I think it was like a 5-minute drive, and they have me go to they drop me off at the casino. So I go, bro, and I'm like, you know what? I got like $100 to play with, and I'm like, I'll try the Mega Meltdown because that's the thing that everybody's playing right now, right? Everybody's playing it right now. It was a hot thing to do, and it was finally open. It was on like a Friday night, bro. So I'm like, cool. This dude next to me slaps my leg. So I'm already having a crappy day, right? For a crappy night. He slaps my leg because he's so excited. I looked to the right. He had just won $30,000. And he's all like, "Oh man, give me!" And I'm like, "Yeah, good for you," because I got up right away because I want to be a jerk, which is not his fault. It just was a horrible night, right? Well, I ended up losing that night, and I'm like, "Man, what a terrible night." I hit up my wife. I'm like, "Yo, can you come pick me up with the other car?" She's like, "No, I'm too tired. I'm not gonna come get you right now." And I'm like, "What the hell?" She's like, "Call the Uber." I look in my phone is at like 5%, bro. So I had to call an Uber on the Uber app, and then right before they got to me, it was down to 1%, and I was able to get picked up and taken all the way down. But yeah, that's that story.
Damn. So essentially, like it was like a race against the clock. Like, like what would have happened if like your phone died before the Uber got there? What was kind of the alternative? I guess you would probably have to call someone else on someone else's phone, right?
Yeah, I would have had to borrow the phone because at that time, I didn't even have like a smartphone, bro. Like I don't even know how I would have done it. I probably would have had to pay like, and it was cool. The guy was a cool young guy, and he did it, and it was pretty good, man. It was, but like that was one of the worst nights of all time, bro. Like it was terrible.
Yeah, no question. So yeah, if anyone is frequenting the Pacific Northwest region, definitely check out Northern Quest. It's a really good casino. Got some good food in there, and it's the hotel rooms are really good. But Shane, you used to work there back when it was like essentially like a 2-star like hotel. So, you know, you, so you've seen the evolution from how it started to what it is now. Like, you, like do you think now it's a really good casino? And have you been to the I think it's the Muckleshoot Casino that's also in Spokane. Like which one do you prefer?
It is pretty wild. Yeah, when I first started going to Northern Quest, it was like a little square, just a little tiny square. Um, then I ended up going to work there, and it was 3 star. It was 3 star at the time, not two. It was 3 star, and I was working there when they were getting ready for like the head guy to come and give him like the 4 star or like whatever 4 diamonds. I can't remember what it's called, like the top thing. So that was a huge thing. I saw some wild stuff when I was working there. Some people had money stashed under their mattress they forgot. Probably the biggest thing that I'm like, man, if I was a bad person or like, I don't know now. I don't know. Here, I'll ask you what you would have done. So Trey, I lift up the mattress because I'm cleaning the mattress, yada yada yada, and underneath there is diamonds, like a bag full of diamonds. What would you have done? Would you have returned it like I did, or would you have kept it and tried to get away with it? Because there was no proof. There would be no
Yeah,
proof.
yeah, so I mean, at that point, I would probably return it. I mean, it's kind of the same thing as like finding a bag full of money. Like as tempting as it is to take it, my philosophy as it is that you don't know who that money belongs to. I mean, at the end of the day, like what happens if, say you find the bag of diamonds and you end up taking it, and the person that is in possession of the diamonds is like some master criminal. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden you're like in the hot seat. So I think for that situation, maybe if I knew the person that left it, behind it, he wasn't like a threat, and I knew I could get away with it, then maybe I would. But it's like one of those things to where I'd be kind of nervous. So what did you end up doing?
I mean, honestly, Trey, was probably $10,000+ worth of diamonds, easily, like easily. I think it actually was like a necklace, a big diamond necklace, but like had diamonds all around it. I ended up turning it in, man, in the little purple bag that it was in, like the purple cloth bag. I mean, just because like it's not mine, for one. For two, I kind of think like you think, like, what if it was somebody, high up? But overall, like, it's just not really mine, except in like the rules are like, see, I know the rules at Northern Quest. I could tell you any of the rules. Like, um, depending on your race or nationality, you can have tattoos showing hair on your face, long hair, etc. Um, but just like if you were our Kalispell at Northern Quest, you get first dibs over other Native Americans that are not Kalispell, and then it'll go Kalispell tribe member gets the first pick, then any other native tribe gets the second pick, then the third one, the lower totem pole, is all non-Native Americans get choices. So like if there's like a bunch of cool new openings, for example, Trey, you and I being Caucasian would be last, right? My buddy who is Coeur d'Alene tribe, he would be second. But so I kind of regret it in a way because here's where I'm at with it, Trey. I go down there a week later and it's still on the lost and found, the whole baggie. And there's like a security guard near there because like I mean you could think of anything, cell phones, cash, anything was there. Well, they have between up to 2 weeks to claim it. If they don't come back within the 2 weeks, it gets released to Northern Quest and gets released to Kalispell. So probably the Diamonds ended up being part of the Kalispell tribe members. Right.
Yeah, that was good. That was gonna be my next question. Is like if you ever found out what happened to the diamonds after that, like I mean, like, is there anything they could have done? Like, couldn't you as a worker, like, maybe you had to contact somebody, but couldn't they like, I mean, because they booked themselves in a hotel, so couldn't they find like the people who rented that room and then contact them directly, or is that like not something they could do?
You know, I'm not so sure back then because maybe some of them paid with cash, right? Because there was a time that you used to be able to pay with cash and pay extra just in case there was any damage to the room, and then if there wasn't, you'd get your money back. But I mean, nowadays, like even when I worked there, I don't know, 15 years ago, you would imagine that they could get a hold of them, but they were more like they need to contact us. That was their whole thing. They need to contact us and let us know that they lost something and describe it. But like I said, it was a week plus when I went by and noticed that the diamonds were still sitting by the security area, and I just thought to myself, "Damn, it's gonna go to the Kalispell tribe, and they'd probably sell it and break it." Like I knew a chick there that was Kalispell, 100% Kalispell blood. She'd been fired 10 times and she was only 18, so 10 times since turning 18 working there. And she told me she didn't really care because you can never get fired there if you're a Kalispell member, Trey. So like if you're 100% Kalispell right, you would get fired, but it wouldn't really be fired. They just let you go. And then whenever you wanted to get another job, they'd have to rehire you back. That's the rule. If you're 100% Kalispell tribe, when I was working there, you had to get hired back. So like basically she'd work like maybe she told me she'd work like, up to like a month each time. That's basically what it was out of the whole year and then quit. And then she'd get I think I think at the time, pure 100% Kalispell tribe members would get like $4,000 every 3 months from revenue of the casino. I know my buddy told me he'd only get like 1,500 because the Chihuahua Casino and the did not get as much money because he is more Spokane than Coeur d'Alene. Excuse me, he's more Spokane tribe than Coeur d'Alene tribe. So if you were like I said, so like she'd make good money. She'd make, I don't know, like $20,000 at least, I believe, off of the revenue from the sales of Northern Quest for the year, and then she'd make like 20, 30K doing all the jobs when she wanted to. So pretty interesting that I found out all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting for sure. I mean, like, so now, like, I'm kind of curious, like, what do you think on that whole situation? Like, the room that you found the diamonds in, was it like a high up like suite room, or was it just like a normal room? You know, if you had to guess on the information, like, who do you think it was that left it behind? Do you think it was like some celebrity, or just like I don't know, like some kind of high roller or situation like that?
So there is a top floor there that many people don't know about it, and it is for tribe members of Kalispell. One time we had the chief, Kalispell chief, come, and his suite is probably the sickest suite you'll ever think of. It goes with almost any suites you can think of. Like basically, the top floor was his, bro. And it was one big suite. I'm not even joking you, bro. Like hot tub, um, plenty of TVs in there, food everywhere. Yeah, it was like the top floor. It was like not the biggest floor of a hotel, but like because you went there, did you ever go to the top of the hotel?
No, I don't think so. I think I went to the fourth floor, but so you're saying that even like so to get to this top floor, like the elevators wouldn't take you there. You'd have to take another route essentially, or at least back then. It's probably different
Yeah, it's
now,
probably
but
different now, but you had to go. I'll say this: you had to go steps. I'll say that because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I'm being honest. Actually, I'm being honest because you weren't supposed to tell people when you were working there. It was it took steps, and it was kind of like dark, and it lead to the suite. And just long story short, so I don't know if they changed it. Maybe people can go rent it out now, but this was when it was all brand new, right? This is when it became four diamonds or whatever. Well, Um, that the person with the diamonds, it was on the second or third floor from the top. I don't know how many floors goes up. Do you know how many floors go up, Trey? Because I can't remember now. But it was like the second or third from the top.
yeah, I think from what I remember, there was like six. I think there was six, like at least that was accessible to the elevators.
Okay, so five or six. Let's just say I think it was one. It was like on the upper levels of thing. I would say it was a high roller. Um, and he didn't care or she didn't care, and the $10,000 meant nothing because they were making it Little Vegas. Like, you know that. You've been there. They call it Mini Vegas, and you can bet $20 bets each time now. At least you could. You might even be able to do it more now. And so it might meant nothing. The only time that I felt weird, bro, and like I don't know, tell me what you think about this. Maybe I'm just being weird, but I think it's creepy to me. Is we were cleaning floors, right? And we went up, and this older gentleman knocked on the door, nobody answered. He opened up the door, and I guess there was a woman that was like, I mean, like, I guess a model per the three guys that peered in. Like a model, like, I mean, like, perfect body, perfect face, and she was like somebody that was in town. But they like stared at her and like kind of looked at her, and she was just sleeping on top of the bed naked. And I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? You should just close the door and, like, you know what I mean, knock or whatever. But like, you think that's a little weird what they did?
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I mean, and I'll be upfront about it. If there's like, I'll be in public, and I don't know. Well, Shane, you're probably older. I don't know if the South is kind of rising for you much these days, but like I don't know if you be out in public and you see those girls with the, I think they call them the Lulu leggings or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. But like, if we're talking like straight up like voyeurism and like looking at girls in the dressing rooms, it's like stuff like where there's like privacy. There she's in a hotel room, so she's entitled to like privacy and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit different than like you go to a gym and you see a girl with a nice butt or whatever. I mean, it's still kind of, you could say that that's still kind of bad, but I think there's two different situations there, right?
So Trey, first off, down south works just great. So salute my member down there. No Diddy. Congrats, Shane. High five. All right, and no, but no, okay, no, like there's a difference though, right, Trey? Like my mother-in-law said, right? You can look at the buffet when you're married, you just can't touch it, right? And it kind of rings true. Like, dude, I'm not dumb, I'm not blind. My wife's not dumb and blind. There's good looking guys and there's good looking women. You can look at them like if like for example, like you said, a woman is at the gym and they're attractive. You can look over at them. Like, yeah, if you're just staring there and drooling, yeah, you're a weirdo. But like, you can look at them and be like, damn, they're good looking. You're not like people aren't dumb. Just like girls are gonna look at a guy if they think he's hot or has a great body or whatever. It just was super creepy to me that the older man opened the door and was like, "Oh man," and then the other guy was like, "What's up?" And he was like, "Look," and it was like, I guess a model that had been in town or whatever. Because at the time they were shooting commercials. I don't know if you knew that they actually hired people. They hired models, men and women, to come do commercials when I was working there. So I would assume it might have been that. It might have been like a working model, right, Trey? And she probably drank, or maybe she was just super tired. Let's not even blame it on alcohol. Maybe she had flown in from somewhere, you know what I mean? Did it all night and then fell asleep. And then the second guy looks in, he's like, "Oh man!" He pulls the third guy, and they peer in, and I'm just like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, this girl's body's crazy, man. It is perfect." And I'm like, "You guys are, that's weird, man." I just walked away, and they closed the door after I said that and moved on. But like, yes, Trey, there's a big difference. Like, if you're out and about and a girl's in a bikini and you look at her, okay, whatever. But like when they're sleeping and they think they're in her privacy, that's weird. That's like Aaron Andrews weird, where the guy like did a camera on her. Like that's weird.
Yeah, I guess I'm showing my age, but I don't even know like like are you talking about the sports reporter Aaron Andrews? Like I'm confused at what happened there. I'm probably showing my age on that one.
You remember when she was like the main attraction? Not to be disrespectful, but she's a pretty lady, right? And she was like going places. Well, some weird guy like posted like he like put like a camera, I can't remember exactly, like either on her lens of the peephole or inside the door, something I can't remember. So she was walking around naked, and she's obviously a very attractive woman, and he was basically just recording her, bro, without her knowing. Like she'd do her sports center stuff, she'd do her interviews wherever she was at the time. um and there was like video of her naked or whatever, and like, A, that's weird to begin with. Like, you're a creeper. Like, you need to be put in jail. But then, like, seeing so many guys begging for the tapers to be released made me feel weird just as a man. I don't know how it makes you feel, but it's like, damn, are that many men like being weird? Like, you can literally, bro, you can literally go and look up porn, right? If you're that horny, or go talk to the girls and try to get with them. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've been with my wife, and when she was younger, especially in her 20s and early 30s, like she would tell me how many times she'd be at the club with me and our family and the bar, and it'd be dark in there, and a guy would walk by and squeeze her butt cheek and disappear into the crowd. And she said she's probably been touched like that like 15 to 20 times, bro. Like, I've never done it. It's just weird to me. It's like sexual assault technically, but
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the situation you're describing is voyeurism. It's like I don't know if I want to say it's like a mainstream porn. I don't know if I should say I don't know if that's considered a cuss word. I don't know if it's considered mainstream, but there was actually I forgot the name, but he was like a college football like star that got in trouble because I guess he had like he had a secret phone, but the secret phone was like located in like a clock type thing. And essentially, what he would do is he would have the hidden camera, and he would just like record himself having intercourse with like women, and then he like someone found out, and I guess he got in trouble for that because it's illegal. And people were saying it's like, well, why wasn't he more open about it? And it's like, well, that's probably what the whole arousal is like. Probably what gets him off is the fact that the women that he's having intercourse with, they don't know that she's being recorded, right? That's kind of the appeal to it.
yeah, but to me that's still like he's still a little weird to me too. Like, I'm being honest when I say that. Like, there's people out there that will what's it called, role play, right? Like, you be with a chick or be with a guy for a while, and the girl's like, you know what gets me off? Like, I want you to act like you're a firefighter, and you do that. Or like, make your own sex tapes. Ask them. You know how many women would do it compared to, like, there's a 50-50 chance she says yes and a 50-50% chance she says no. Like, but like, you're still doing something illegal, bro. It's like when they like the girl had slept with Conor McGregor and he's asleep in the bed and she's taking pictures of him. That's still illegal and wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, and I don't understand how it can be. I mean, it's definitely illegal to do that, but why it's like websites and all that. I'm not gonna get into that, but it's definitely out there. I don't know if it's fake or what. But going off the Northern Quest situation.
You cut out, Trey. Are you there?
Yeah, no, my PlayStation was talking to me. It does that randomly from time to time. I want you to tell the. I mean, you've told it on the podcast before, but like tell the story about when you quit the Northern Quest Casino because there's a pretty funny story about how you ended up leaving that job.
Yeah, I don't remember. Do you remember the story? What story are you talking about?
I'm talking about the story you were working at the hotel and you found out that there was a tweaker that like pooped everywhere.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't quit. I just straight up told the manager, like, hell no, you can clean it. I'm not cleaning it. Okay, so I know what you're talking about now. My bad. So we get a call in that there was a guy that was pretty drunk last night, and he wanted his hotel room cleaned, yada yada. So we go up, and I was with like two other people and the manager of the cleaning area, and we opened the door, and it was the Trey. When I say it's the grossest thing ever, bro, it is the grossest thing. I mean, ever. He had shit all over in the bed. He like the back of the toilet thing where you like can like flush it manually if you have to do that because the lever's not working. You put your hand in you lift the toilet cover up and put your finger in the water and lift up that little ball so it flushes. He had pooped a huge log in there, Trey. And so I'm like, kind of gagging. He has like beer everywhere, like a 30 bomb of the cheapest beer. He's nowhere around. It's just poop everywhere. And she's like, okay, you guys, I can, I need you guys to get on this and clean it. And I look at her and I said, yeah, I'm not cleaning this. And she said, what? And I said, you can clean it because I'm not cleaning it. She's like, but it's your job. And I said, yeah, I'm not doing this. You can fire me if you want. She ended up cleaning it for me, which is weird, man. I would have fired my ass if I was her, Trey.
Damn. So that's crazy because I didn't know that part because when you told the story and you said yeah I'm not cleaning, I thought that was it. Like, so the manager told you to clean, and then when you said hell no I'm not, that she ended up cleaning it herself, and like that's crazy. So why didn't whoever the manager was, why do you think that they didn't fire you at that point? Do you think?
I mean, she had a couple other people help her, like the other couple people did it with her, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. If I was a manager, I'd been like, Shane, you're fired. Get the hell out. Get your stuff. Get out. Because like, hey, I'm the manager. I'm not cleaning that crap up. That was disgusting, dude. Like, it was disgusting, Trey. When I say it was super disgusting, I mean like there's poop everywhere, bro. Like everywhere. So like, I don't know why she didn't fire me, and I don't know why she listened to me and cleaned it with them.
Yeah. No, that's definitely wild. So when that situation happened, like how long after that did you work? Did you end up working there before? I don't know. Like, so what happened? Did you like move on to something else, or did you eventually get fired, or like what happened at your tenure there?
I only worked there for 3 months. It was the wildest 3 months I've ever done. They went from being not 4-star diamond to 4-star diamond. We had um people crapping in their hotel rooms all over. He ended up getting arrested. Um, there was also, diamonds being forgotten that were worth at least 10K plus. There was money forgotten. There was some weed that people picked up. I ended up getting fired because I asked for Hoop Fest off, and they told me no. Some, like, I don't know, some Kalispell member wanted it off, and they get first dibs. And I said, how many? And they said a lot of the Kalispell tribe members called in for that weekend. So I said, yeah, I'm not coming in this weekend. They said, you'll risk being fired. I said, yeah, I'm not coming in. I ended up playing with my brother and whatever, and I came in that next Monday, and they called me and they fired
Yeah, yeah. So that was the end of that. I mean, like from the 3 months you spent there. I mean, it sounds like definitely sounds like probably the most like when you say that it was like a fun experience overall because of all the. I mean, you experienced like shit. You've experienced like borderline sexual assault. You've experienced diamonds and all that. So really, it sounds like a pretty interesting 3 months you spent there.
me. Like, would I do it again? No, I would never clean beds again. It's gross. But was it a lot of experience? Was some fun? Yep. Was some gross? Was some just like I hated the place? Yep. Here's where I'll go. The one cool thing is that you got free lunch there, so you got good food there. But I mean, actually, every job that I've been at, I've had some wild experiences I've been blessed with. Like I said, when I did furniture, I had some wild experiences. When I did the post office, I had some weird experiences, some fun experiences. I haven't really had a boring job outside of maybe like when I was a Pizza Hut cook, and I just didn't. I was so young, and I just would like, I don't know, make myself stuffed crust pizzas and eat them in the morning. Other than like that was probably the only like kind of boring job. So other than that, yeah, man, I've had a lot of crazy experiences that has been awesome to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's kind of interesting though when you think about it because so essentially the reason that the Northern Quest thing ended was because of Hoop Fest, and then fast forward to the post office. You get I don't know if like Hoop Fest at the post office was like the final straw, like that what led up to your firing. But I mean, at least at Northern Quest, when you left for Hoop Fest, like unlike the post office, you didn't have someone taking pictures of you from like 10 blocks away and then sending it to the manager at that point.
Bro, they didn't even have the manager. Was the assistant manager. He had his son, who was 15 at the time, take pictures of me with like a high res camera, like, because it was like it looked like it was like military grade because he was in the military. So I'd assume that. Yeah, it was weird. Like, I mean, it was kind of weird. Like that Todd dude, he's just a piece of crap. Like, honestly, bro, like he's a piece of crap. Like, he's a piece of crap that worked at the post office. I mean, he's had to be moved to two different locations, Trey, um, because he almost got in a fist fight with one worker. Then he couldn't be around the public and couldn't be around other employees because there's always conflict with them. So, and that was after I got fired. He was the guy that said he wishes that he could put a bullet in every CCA's head. A CCA is like a person that gets first hired on, and they basically have to work 24/7, and they don't know the routes because they get new routes every day, and they're a little slower. So he was basically saying he'd rather like I'll pause it so I don't get in trouble, but a bullet in everyone's head is what his exact quote was. Man, like I said, man, it all added up. Like he didn't like it that I could have FMLA for my oldest. He didn't like it that I didn't cowtail to him. But like, dude, like honestly, Trey, I missed a lot of stuff of my family. I was working 60 plus hours, 6 days a week. Some days I'd even work on Sundays for Amazon at the very end. Some days I'd go in at 6 a.m. to deliver packages for around December, and I wouldn't even get home till 9 p.m. I'd do 15-hour shifts, then I have to come back in at 7 a.m. for my normal shift. And yeah, man, it was pretty messed up because that long story, like the year before when I was a CCA, the woman who took over for one of the guys when I was CCA at a different spot gave me the weekend off so I could play Hoop Fest because she said I do great work and I put in a lot of hours. And she made sure the boss that came back who was a stickler had to abide by it. So I got to play the year before, right, Trey, at that Hoop Fest. Well, then fast forward, I get transferred to Shado. I become a career worker. He had shown up to my house a couple times when I had to take the time off due to my kid. I don't need to go into it, but like due to my child. And one day he showed up and was like knocking on my door, peering through my door, even though I had it off, like trying to like stalk me to see if my kid was with me. That's weird as hell, dude. Um, and then fast forward it, like he gave me Hoop Fest off. Then like a month before Hoop Fest, he decided like, no, we need the workers. You can't have it off. I take it back. So I got pissed off and was like, dude, whatever. You're being a jerk. Um, I walked off. Shadle was a pretty crappy area. Nobody wanted to work at Shadle in Spokane Trey. They wanted to work everywhere else. So once you got enough time, people would transfer out. Well, there's a kid who was like the tough guy. He was a twin of a brother. And he came up one day. I was really slow at Shadle when I first started there because, like I said, it was like the death mark of Spokane. Shadle was the worst place. And the openings to make me the career workers, it was the hardest routes in all of Spokane factually at that time, Trey. Like, I was in such pristine shape and I was still so gassed doing this because some of them were like 10-mile routes, right? So this guy shows up and he's smoking a cigarette. He's probably like my age at the time, leaning out the window, and he's like, "You so slow, you suck, you suck." Just talking to me like that, right, bro? And so it's like when you play Madden, they're behind the computer screen and they're talking, or the PlayStation or whatever, Xbox. And I'm like, bro, quit talking to me like this. I go, I'm a new guy. I go, I don't know what I'm doing with this route. He's like, you should just quit. You'll never make it. You're a loser, right? So I said, okay, dude. I go, we can wait till we clock off, and I'm gonna beat your face. I'll beat your face in. And he said, oh yeah, I can't wait, can't wait. I'll be waiting for you, bro. You're a loser. Well, another guy came up and was like, what's going on? And the guy that was talking to me like that, all of a sudden like switched modes and was like, oh man, buddy, you're doing a great job to me. And I'm like, don't talk to me, man, because he switched it up. And the guy's like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, he's being a jerk. And the guy's like, no, I'm not. So the guy takes some of the stuff to help me, take some of my mail, leaves, right, Trey? And the kid goes back to like, yeah, I'll be waiting for you. I'm like, can't wait. When I pull in, bro, we'll go across the street so we don't get fired and we can fight. No charges. And he's like, can't wait. I get done and I'm seething, bro. And I see him, right, and I pull my truck in, my post office vehicle. He sees me coming. He hops in his big truck, his private truck, and speeds out of there. And he never worked there again. He was helping out, but he never worked at that one again until I was done. But yeah, it was a lot. Shado was terrible, Trey. Like you couldn't have the music, you couldn't have the radio on in the office, like the other places, like the North Side or Riverside. They would allow music to be played, so the vibes were good. This Todd guy made all the radios be turned off. You couldn't look outside of your cubicle. You just had to look in. Like he was a weirdo, bro. He was just a weirdo. And then like I ended up being like, whatever, I'm gonna play Foo Fest, and kind of dumb because I was making like $35 an hour, bro, overtime, 24 hourly at the time, which back then 10 years ago was good money, but at the same time, I was kind of burnt out, Trey, because like I was never seeing Corey, I was never seeing my wife, I was never seeing my family, I was missing sports, so like it was basically like I was making money that I didn't get. I didn't get to see my kid, and I was being harassed by this dude. Yeah, that dude was weird, Trey. That dude was a weirdo.
Yeah, no, he definitely sounds like it. So I mean, so that guy Todd, I mean, you said his name, so I mean, you know, if he
He,
ends up watching this,
yeah, he could kick fucking
it's
rocks.
whatever.
Pardon my
But
language,
so
but
I
he would
mean,
take
so
it.
yeah, got you. So I mean, you know, you said that Todd coach switched on you. So I mean, what was this before or after you did the coach switch on that other guy? Was Todd the one that taught you how to code switch, or was that before him?
You talking about when I said I'm not that mailman, or no? What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah. We went to that guy and like he was like cussing you out, calling you homophobic slurs, and then you said you better stay on your porch. I'm not that mailman. And then when you seen people come out, you like switched it up on them.
You know what? Though, well, it wasn't Todd who did the code switch. It was just some weird worker that thought he was like Joe Cool. Like, I mean, he literally thought he was Joe Cool. He was just like some helper that was like based out of a different area and had to come down and help. And he was mad and he tried to be tough. No, that was after, but like, yeah, that was still the funniest, man. Like, that guy was like, look at your socks. You're wearing black socks. You're a beep, beep, beep. Homophobic slurs. And I'm like, I go, I control your mail, bro. You'll never get your disability check, which is messed up of me. But I mean, he was just being completely out of hand. He stood up and he's like, what? He started taking a step off the porch. And I said, you better stay on that porch. I'm not that mailman. And he stopped. And then I saw the windows open up, and I did code switch. I was like, sir, why are you trying to bug me? Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good by me. But no, bro, that Todd guy, dude, they actually deleted some of the computer files when I was gonna sue him. Like I talked to the steward there who is supposed to protect me, but he was just a lazy guy. If it was someone else, the guy at North Point, I would have won. He even told me, "Yo, they messed with your files. We got them, Shane. You'll get your job back. They'll owe you like 40K back in back pay." And he's like, they deleted stuff. And then 2 days later, he's like, I can't talk about it. I don't know what's going on. So I think he got bullied by Todd. Todd was a crappy man. He was. So Todd, if you ever listen, you're a loser, and I'd punch you in your face. How about that?
Oh yeah. Hearing that, it sounds. It sounds pretty cool. I mean, honestly, like, because I kind of have a fascination with, like how it was growing up in like the late '90s and early 2000s. So it's like, so when I hear like stories about like people getting into fights and then calling each other, slurs and stuff like that. Like basically what you see in like the movies back then and like the music and stuff. Was that pretty accurate to how it was growing up in that time period as like a teenager and
Oh
young
yeah.
adult and stuff.
Oh yeah. 95% of the people I knew would be in trouble nowadays. I'll say that. Just matter of factly. Like, just not, does it make it right? No. I mean, but did people mean it like that? No, but I can see where, if you call somebody a homophobic slur back in the day, like, oh, there's nothing against somebody who's likes the same sex, but you're saying that they're weak and a wuss. So I understand why now. Now I will say one thing I noticed with the post office trade, they have a drug problem there. Everywhere I went, bro, they were popping opiates, all the workers. Never me, not me, but all of them were popping opiates and then would go walk.
Damn, yeah, that's crazy. So there was an opiate project. Yeah, and I mean the homophobic slurs. I mean the way that yeah, there was probably people back then that were like, obviously they were kind of homophobic back then. I mean that was that, but I think it's kind of like what you said. I think like when people mostly like when they used that word back then, it was kind of like how you said it wasn't really about like their sexual like orientation. It was more or less just saying like you're soft kind of thing. Like, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it is correct. Just like if you were like, what are you? And then like just about a disability, mental disability, and like I understand it now. Like, don't get it twisted. I understand it now, but like, yeah, they're basically saying like you're a wuss or you're soft, and I understand because like I don't know. My mom said she had people that like the same sex that were tough as hell, and they were tougher than a lot of straight people, which I would agree on with the people that I know nowadays, bro. And it's like, so I understand why they try to fix it, and it is like, like there's less college hazing than ever before, which is really good because it cuts down on bullying, suicides, people dying because they drank too much alcohol because of the hazing. So there is stuff that is very good that came from it, if you know what I mean. And then sometimes I'm just like, damn, I think people like need a little bit of a buck up, if that makes sense. And they need a buck up a little.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely hear what you mean. You mean on that. I mean, it is a fascinating topic, like how things change. I mean, even it's you're probably like Gen Z was looked at as you know, but now Gen Z is like uncle material, which makes me feel old. And like I'm Gen Z, but I missed like I'm technically Shane. Like I'm gonna claim your generation because you're a millennial. I think you were born in the 80s, so that would make you a millennial. And the cutoff for Gen Z is like 95 or 96. And I was born in 97, so I'm gonna say that I'm both Gen Z and a millennial in that sense.
Hey, you want to feel really old? My youngest is Alpha.
Yeah, Generation Alpha. That is definitely the new one. All
Yeah,
right,
but
Shane. So we had a pretty good conversation. Do you want to do a would you rather segment right now, or do you think this would be a good place to end it?
I'll do. I got one for you. It'll be really quick. Trey, would you rather own your own boat or your own plane?
Let's see. Own your own boat or own your own plane. Um, I know you said it was a quick one, so say if I were to pick the boat, right? Like, would I have to do like the maintenance and stuff like that, or like if I paid the boat, could I get someone to like, hold it and do all the maintenance and stuff like that for the boat?
Yeah, so let's just say to make it easier, in this question of would you rather own a boat or own a plane, you had people that flew the plane, flew the boat, and could fix it for you.
Yeah, so in that situation, I would probably, I'd probably go with the boat. honestly. I'm not a big fan of water, but I do like being on a boat and kind of just being out. I mean, owning a plane is cool and everything, but yeah, I would probably say the boat on that one.
I would go with the boat because I am afraid of heights, and getting in an airplane makes me get very anxious. So I would go in a boat, bro. I like boats.
Yeah. Yeah, no, boats are cool. All right, so my would you rather question for you, Shane, is would you rather have $5,000 right now, or in 15 years you have $200,000?
Oh, in 15 years, $200,000, and I'd try to grind right now, like I do anyways.
Okay, so you're taking the 200,000 in 15 years then. You're taking.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. What about
All
you?
right, so Shane's not an instant gratification guy. I would definitely take the 15. I would take excuse me. I'd take the $5,000 right now. I'm not gonna honest. If it was like $1 million, then yeah, maybe. But I'd probably take the 5,000 right now, to be honest. But with all that being said, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to another edition of the West Coast Podcast. Shout out to Shane as always. I don't know like what his stream schedule is looking like for this upcoming weekend. And yeah, that's another thing too. It is Labor Day weekend. I didn't mention that at the start. So, if you guys are having a longer weekend like myself, have a good one. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the weather if you're in a good place with good weather. And yeah, be on the lookout for Shane. Watch the UMC members go into the single elimination. Support them. And yeah, with all that being said, I'll throw it over. By the time we go on the next podcast, the NFL season will officially be started. The first two games are going to be the Chiefs and the Chargers. They play on Friday, and the Thursday opener is going to be between the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'm gonna say that the winners from that one are going to be the Eagles, and the Chiefs are going to win those games. So I'll throw it over to Shane to close us out for this edition of the West Coast Podcast.
All right, I appreciate you, Trey. Yeah, we had a long one today. We actually topped out after 2 hours. But yeah, so hopefully UMC does very well this weekend. I will be streaming the gauntlet, the sweaty gauntlet this weekend, all 10 games, hopefully, or two losses. Hopefully, it's all 10 games. Um, but yes, once the little one starts school and everything smooth is over for that, I will become more of a nighttime streamer, like 10:30ish at night till like 12ish, Monday through Thursday, and then Gauntlet will be during the day on the weekend, and then there will be some streams that I do during the day. But anyways, yeah. So for Trey, I'm Shane. We will see you. I think it's September 12th. We will see you September 12th. Thank you so much.